welcome back to our channel. We are James and Kelly, and we are converting our van so that we can travel to South America with our 2 cats.
Today we are installing 2 amenities into our van, a running board and a dash cam.
Today we are installing some amenities into our van to make life on the road a little bit easier. The first one being our dash cam. This is going to be able to record both what we are doing while we're driving and our rear view. The reason we bought this is, one, for safety. We want to make sure that if we were to ever get into an accident, we have visual proof, whether it was our fault, someone else's fault, or if something happens to the car, we know and have it on video. This also records, so we can add it to our travel videos, so that's going to be cool as well. But the main reason we bought it was for safety. We purchased the WOLFBOX G850 from Amazon. This is one of the top-rated dash cams that you can buy.
Alright, so let's see what's inside.
Let's see what all we got. Open this up. We have our rear view mirror camera. This actually just clips onto the rear view mirror that's already existing. That way we can see, one, what is recording in the front. This also works as a backup camera, so not only will we have a backup camera that's kind of pointing down, but this one will be at our license plate, which is going to be giving like kind of a street view. So we're going to have 2 visuals while backing up, which will be very nice because this is a decent sized van, and with all of our stuff in the middle of it, we might not be able to get a clear view of the back. In here, we have a bunch of cords, so this is what charges and allows us to operate. This is a GPS, so it's going to track where we're going. And then this is the rear view mirror camera. Now that we have it all open and I quickly read the installation instructions, we're going to go ahead and install it. First thing we have to do though is make sure that it actually works. So to the front of the van. This is just the standard 12 volt cord. It also has a USB device on the top, which is going to be nice, so it gives us 2 USBs to connect from. I'll plug it in and then I will turn the car on to make sure it works. Okay, it turns on, and then it gives you the time, the date, which is pretty awesome, and it's already recording right as soon as the car turns on. So this is the camera right here, and this is just going to clip right up here. So they give you a few different sizes to help clip on the mirror. I think we might only need the smaller one because our mirror's not very big. A little dusty, but okay. I think I can turn the car off. Clip it there, about 1, and then, oops. 1 and 2, and it's on. That was super simple. It also makes your your rear view mirror a lot bigger. That's nice. In order to hide the cord that's coming down and basically allowing it to operate, we're gonna have to hide it, which we just shove it into this little spot and then bring it all the way around through the trim. Now that we've threaded the power cord all the way through the passenger side, we're going to do the same thing for our rear view mirror camera. This, we are not going to go through the passenger side, we're going to go through the driver's side, and that's because the license plate is on our driver's side, and since it's a cargo van, the doors open wide, we can't really have it going through the passenger side, and then around and down. It'll just be more complicated. So we're just going to go through the driver's side. We have now threaded the cord up through the driver's side, up and around here. Now we'll just put the cord in this area. We don't want to put it within any of these crevices. One, because that could make it harder to access if we ever needed to. And then also because It's just, that'd be a little bit difficult. We don't want to do it. Luckily, we didn't go through with the full install of putting it into the van and making sure everything is tight and snug, because the 20-foot cable that comes with it is not long enough to reach our door. So we are going to purchase the extension of the 33-foot. Once that arrives, we will continue on our install of our new dash cam. But we have other projects that we can work on in the meantime.
The next project that we're going to work on is our LUVERNE running board. We have already taken everything out of the box, so I'll show you what we've got. The first thing is the running board itself. We have the attachments, the brackets that will go underneath and attach to the van. We have 2 of these for each side and a middle one. And then we have all of the hardware that goes with it. These will include some bolts, some self-threading screws. We also have end caps for the running board, extra hardware and attachments, and of course some reflective safety tape. The instructions are actually very thorough, but we were confused when we looked at all the parts and when we looked at this diagram. This diagram is actually kind of confusing. It doesn't tell you like the exact spots. It kind of gives you like the inch spacing for all of these, and then trying to figure out where actually to put them underneath was confusing. But we finally figured out, we realized that we're going to need to drill a lot of holes into the bottom in order to secure our brackets. So in order to install this, you will need drill bits of varying sizes that can go through metal. And now we're ready to start installing this, putting in pilot holes and setting it up. All right, so now we're under the van. We get a look at what we're connecting to. The first thing the instructions say to do is to get your placement of all of your brackets marked down. It gives you a number 37 inches from the wheel well to place your first bracket. So I'm just gonna go ahead and mark that underneath right now. I just marked the place with an X. This is right where the door starts to open. This is just about 37 inches. If you were to take the bracket that goes that way, it would lay just about like that. What I might have to do is take off this stopper so I can have a flat area. And in some cases you might even have to take off the undercoating, but I don't think I'll have to do that. There doesn't seem like that much undercoating right here for me to need to take off. The next thing that I want to do is mark where the other side bracket will go. And I'm assuming that it's going to go somewhere around here. It gives us 39 inches away from your starting point, which ends up literally right at the beginning of this bar. The last thing that I need to do is mark the middle. So the middle of 39 inches is 19.5, which won't stay, but it's literally right where this cusp begins. Just hold my finger there. So right now I'm gonna hold the running board kind of in the middle of those spots to see if I like the position. And if I don't, I think I might just readjust where the brackets are. I don't think it's that big of a deal because I do have a large amount of support that I can screw into underneath. I do have one issue with the first bracket here on the left, is that this lip, this pinch weld right here, is actually bent in right here. I'll have to bend it out just a little bit. So what I'm gonna do first to see if I can move it at all with some pliers, which it looks like I can. I'm just gonna... You can see by looking at this angle that it kind of comes in still a little bit right here, but it's much better than what it was. Let's go ahead and take out this drainage hole. Now it can sit nice and level right here. In the instructions, it says I need a 11 32nd drill bit for the pinch weld, and then I need a 1/4 inch drill bit for the floor. Now, unfortunately, the closest I have to an 11 32nd is a 5/16, which is 1/32 of an inch shorter. If this 5/16 doesn't work, I'll just try to go back and forth a couple of times to try to make the hole just a little bit bigger and see if then the bolt will fit. Hopefully it will, because I don't want to go out and try to find a special, 11 32 inch drill bit. All right, now we're on to our first stage of making all the holes. What I'm gonna do is go to each hole that I marked, place a bolt, and then tap it with a hammer. It makes a nice little indent right where I want it to. Starter holes, so these are the 1/8 bits, and then I'll keep on moving up. So for those first 2 holes that I just finished, I literally had to start with that 1/8 inch drill bit and then work my way up because my drill is not powerful enough to jump any of these, and because it's just kind of an awkward angle, I can't get a good starting position. So it takes a while, but now that I know that it works and the hole fits the bolt, I'm just gonna do the rest of them in a line. I've unfortunately made a mistake that I've only found out after drilling the hole, which is quite annoying, but this bracket, this middle bracket that attaches to the middle bracket here, doesn't attach on the inside like all the other ones. It actually attaches from the outside. So now I need to, so these holes right here that were positioned for the inside don't match up, especially since I have this little bump right here. I need to change the position of this bracket. So that means we'll probably have to do something to fill these holes. And
well, we got that steel stuff.
Yeah, we got the steel stuff. We'll have to paint it and then
we have
put
the undercoating.
Yep.
We have all the stuff needed to fix it.
Yep, we do have all the stuff needed to fix it, but I was getting very tired of drilling. I've drilled all the holes that I've needed for the side parts, and I need to put them in before I put the middle so I know exactly the height that I want the middle one to be. So these go on the outside of the pinch weld, and then the bracket will be on the inside. I think I'm gonna need to drill a big hole. So like I said before, this part of the metal has been bent, and it looks like it's pointing, when I put it in, it's pointing too far up for it to go into. These are directed to where the bolts are supposed to go down, and right now the bolts are facing up. I might have to make the holes bigger. I literally spent probably the last 30 minutes trying to figure out this problem. I could not get this nut that they give you to get onto the back of this bolt. Like, it was just too big. It has this gigantic lip that goes around it. To get this metal plate on, now it moves the bolts in a way that moves them up, which makes it almost impossible to get this on. So what I had to do is I had to go grab a regular nut, tighten it all the way on. That way it pushed the metal together and the bolt all the way in as much as it could go. And then I took this nut off and I was finally able to just get this on, and then use my drill and a wrench to tighten that one on. It was just a ridiculous process. I wish they'd make this metal plate just a little bit smaller because it's really digging into where the metal curves here at the bottom. But I got it done. On to the next ones. So now that I have finally got these two secured in, it's time to do the middle one. So we're gonna put this on. This is where it's gonna be. Right here. Which looks pretty good.
Looks good. The reason we are installing this is because I am pretty short and it sucks trying to get into the Ram ProMaster without having a built-in step.
As much on as I can get it. Got both sides on and the middle now, and if you look at it you'll notice that the middle is not in the middle. The middle has to be here because we have this lip right here and this part goes on the outside, so having that lip right there kind of stops us from putting it here, but that's okay because when we finish our build we'll know we'll have a seat right here, so most of our step-ups will be from right in this general region. So now it's extra supported on this side, and it's okay if we just have a little bit less support on the right side. So they have an interesting way of attaching the running board onto these brackets. It's basically going to be clamped onto it. So we'll have two pieces, this L-shaped piece and then this plate, and they'll clamp onto the running board like this using these bolts. The bolts will run through the brackets as well, and we'll tighten them to clamp it in, and that's literally what holds it.
These are here like this and it's not pre-made, so that way you can adjust to wherever these are.
Yeah. First step for the running board is to actually install the end caps. It'll be really difficult to install the end caps if you attached it to the van first, just because they have to be self-tapped in on the bottom. They're made of aluminum, so pretty easy to go through. So L bracket goes in, and you put the plate on it, and then you put it over the bracket. Make sure the bolt goes through. There we go. So you can, once you get them on, you can adjust it forward or backwards based on the amount of space it gives you. So pulling ours all the way out, we get about an extra inch out. If you don't want as much space coming, sideways, you can push it all the way in. Now that all the bolts are on, it's time to tighten them. Tighten all the nuts. Do the middle one last, since it's a little bit gap. Pretty solid.
It looks good. Yeah, that's not bad.
You still trip though.
Yeah, once we get a trim here though, it'll be alright. Right now we've just got cardboard. It's been a busy day for us both. We worked on, well, for a little bit, our dash cam. James spent 5 hours working on the running board, and while he was working on the running board, I was still working on our insulation because this insulation takes forever. Hopefully tomorrow we'll be able to finish up our dash cam and the rear view camera. Good job today, James.
Thanks.
I'm proud of you. Our 33-foot adapter for our rear camera has been delivered, and it's time to install it. I am going to go ahead and go back to threading it from the rear view mirror all the way back to the back, and then James is going to figure out where the tail light is so we can attach this part to the tail light.
It is now time to install our rear camera and hook it up to our rear backup light. We have had the dash cam installed for a while now, and now we are finally looking back on our footage and realizing that when I filmed installing the camera in the back of the van, it wasn't as clear as I wanted it to be. So I kind of wanted to go over exactly how I installed it and the steps I took to install it in the back of the van. So after we bought the extended cable, we threaded it all the way from the front on the driver's side to the back, and we also put it in this split conduit to protect it from the metal. It runs all the way on top of this metal piece into this back corner and goes down. Once you get your cable all the way down here, now it's time for the hard part of getting it into the door. And in order to do that, you need to thread it through this conduit piece that they have right here. You want to get your wires down to this point where you'll be able to see all the wires that go into your back left light into this section right here, which leads to this conduit that goes into the door. Because you'll have to thread your wire in through this conduit to get it into the door for you to be able to put your camera on this door. In our door, since it's been installed already, I already have the wires that go to our camera. It's this black and red one. They've been taped together for protection right now. And then we also have this other wire which was already in the door, and this is the wire for the license plate lights. So we have the license plate wire and our dash cam wire. The easiest way to thread the dash cam wire through this conduit is to actually unhook the conduit from the wall right here and from the spring. That way you can pull the license plate wire all the way as much as you can into the van, and then you can tape your dash cam wire to the license plate wire and then re-pull that through the conduit. It's really hard to push the dash cam wire just through the conduit itself. It'll keep on getting stuck. You might be able to use a hard wire, but I found that just using the license plate wire as a guide worked really well and was super easy to do. Once you have the dash cam wire all the way into the door, pull it enough to where you have enough slack. That way you can open the door all the way and it still has enough room. The next step is to find a way to get your camera cable, which is this one right here, which hooks to your dash cam cable, from the outside to the inside of the door. So we wanted to put our camera right at the edge of this left door that's on the driver's side. This is the most middle part that we can put the camera at. And in order to do that, I needed to get this cord inside the door. So what I used is one of the light plastic pieces. I drilled a hole through that and thread the wire through it, and then just used a grommet, a rubber grommet, to kind of seal the hole with some glue. That way to keep it nice and waterproof, and it works just great. With the camera right here, it's shielded from the rain and everything, so like it works in all types of weather, which is super great. And it has a perfect spot to attach to right on this plastic. Once you have the camera wire inside, you connect them together, and then the last step you need to do is to connect it to your brake light. To connect it to your brake light, you will need to find the conduit that comes out from your brake light connector right here, and find a good spot where you can open it up. Once you find a good spot to open up this conduit, you can go ahead and just peel it apart with your fingers and then pull out the wires, just like that. So they're all put together. And what you'll need to do is find the one that is green and white. So there's lots of different wires in here, but there's only one that is just green and white. And you'll be splicing your red wire to that green and white wire. Once you found your green and white wire, I use just some tap splicers, which are really easy to use. So this is just a simple little splicer. All you do is thread the wire that you want to splice on the outside and the wire that you want to splice into it on the inside. So for example, the red wire will go on the inside piece towards this little hinge, and the green and white wire will be on the outside there. Once they're in place, you will then bring this plastic hinge over and push it all the way down until it locks. It'll cut through the casing and they will be spliced together. In order to make sure that this splice stays on, I would suggest taping it because it's not very durable or sturdy, in my opinion. Once that wire is spliced, now every time that you put your vehicle into reverse, it'll automatically go to a reverse camera and it'll show the backup lines, which can be a helpful feature for when you're backing up. Moment of truth. Okay, we're staring at the ground. I don't know how long it'll stare at the ground for, but this is our reverse camera. Let's see, is there a way for me to switch it? Now the test is what happens when we put it in reverse. It goes to the camera. Wiring is complete. I have done the job. Wiring is complete. It's time to fix everything where we want it. Before you fix it on, make sure you clean the area. I'm using some just isopropyl alcohol to clean it. And I also cleaned the top of the camera before fixing the 3M. Before you actually attach the camera, make sure you tighten these screws as much as possible, which will hold the angle that you want it at. I tightened them just a little bit when I got it to the angle, but now I want it permanently fixed because I won't be able to access these once I glue it up. All right, now we have it on our van. It still is a little bit pliable. You could push it up and down and it stays at wherever you want it after tightening those screws. And we can go check it out on the front. I was going through the settings and I learned that you can switch what camera mode from the front or to the back to the front to side by side. Look at that. Skies and sunset coming in. After making sure it works, one thing I suggest you do is to tape all connection points together. That way they always stay together even while you're driving and all the vibrations, so nothing comes loose. I just like to use some electrical tape.
So James did an amazing job yesterday finishing up our install of the rear view camera. He gave me a breakdown of what happened, and I assume it was not an easy task to do it, but he managed to get it done, and we have almost fully installed our new rear view camera. James left me the last task, which is just to install the GPS. And this time, instead of going towards the back, we're going to be putting it right here on the passenger's dashboard. So all it says to do is to have it face up, and there's a big word that says up. And we have now fully installed both our dash cam and our running boards, so we have more amenities in our van, even though we had a few hiccups. Now I'm happy to say that this project is completed. Good job, James.
Our running board and our dash cam are now fully installed, and we already love both of these additions to our van. Our running board makes it so easy to hop in and out of the van when carrying things, and our dash cam will keep us safe and secure by monitoring everything that we do on the road and all the other drivers that might try to harm our van.
I would say we did a lot of the work, but honestly, James pretty much did both of these projects by himself, and as you can see, they were not easy. It took James 5 hours just to put the running board in, which was not an easy task, and about 2 hours just to put in the rear view camera in our van. So it was not an easy task for James, but he did it, and I'm so proud of him. Thank you so much for watching our video. If you want to see our whole entire van build series, make sure to subscribe to our channel, or you can watch it from the beginning up here.
We'll see you in the next video.
Bye.